Thank you. Yeah, how about that, huh?
All right. Folks ready? All right. All right. Good evening, folks. I'm going to call to order the December 1st, 2021 council meeting. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Stepanovich,
Here.
Ms. Brockway,
Here.
Mr. Dice, Mr. Spadero,
Here.
Mr. McKenna,
Here.
Dr. Lee Corns,
Here.
Mr. Case,
Here.
Mayor Simon.
Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You look like twins from the back.
You know, I didn't see that. I was thinking the two grandkids.
Okay. Do we have any unlisted amendments tonight?
No, sir.
Okay. The November 17th, 2021 meeting minutes. Do we have any questions or changes necessary? Okay. All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Comments by Mayor Simon.
Thanks, Mr. Case. We have our holiday events coming up here. First one is the library on Monday, December the 6th from 5 to 8 is Jingles and Gingerbread. Crafts for kids and adults, student musical performances, Broadway and musical-inspired student performers, hot chocolate and cookies to go, ASL pop-up, and wear your most festive holiday outfit. Mask will be required. It's a fun event. I've attended that a few of the years, and it's really well attended. Hot chocolate hike, Saturday, December 11th at 10 a.m. Join the recreation. Not rolling, huh, Jim?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor. I was not paying attention.
Join the Recreation Department and Westmoreland Conservancy for an easy 2 to 3 mile hike at the Morrissini Reserve. We'll start on the all-pedestrian trail and then make our way up into the hillside of the reserve. The family-friendly hike is great for all ages. You can register at Eventbrite/hot chocolate hike at Morrissini Reserve ticket. So you do have to register. So if you need more information, the Westmoreland Conservancy has a website. Go on there or call our recreation department here at the 327-2100 number, extension 115. Our municipal event this Saturday is Santa at Sardis. This has turned out to be, the staff, really works hard on this, and this has turned out to be a great event. It's Saturday, December 4th at Sardis Park from 2 to 4 p.m., Rocky Hill Lane, which is right next to the Sardis Volunteer Fire Department. Join us at the park for s'mores, a bonfire, carriage rides, and Santa to kick off the holiday season. Families, if you can, please carpool. We do have kind of limited parking up there. Bring a chair to enjoy the bonfire. If you need more information, get on our website at Murrysville, PA Recreation, or call here at the municipal number 327-2100, extension 131. And lastly is the Murrysville Rec Department and Murrysville Community Library are holding a gingerbread house contest. This is being held in conjunction with Santa at Sardis, so it's also Saturday, December 4th from 2 to 4 p.m. Individuals, groups, businesses are welcome. Houses must be constructed completely of edible materials and must not be larger than 12 by 18 by 18. The houses must sit on a sturdy board with the name and phone number clearly marked. Board should not be larger than 2 foot by 2 foot. Again, you can get more information on the website at murrysvilleprecreation.com/193/Santa at Sardis, or again, call the municipal number 327-2100, extension 131. And that concludes my comments.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Morrison.
Several comments tonight, Mr. President. First, December 11th will be our last leaf cleanup of the year. We encourage residents to call here at the office if they want pickup scheduled. Many times people put out the leaves and the truck somehow doesn't find them. So it was a little more successful last cleanup to have them register the location. We pass that along and make sure that they're taken care of. That's on the 11th. On the 18th, we have another glass recycling program set up over at the above Veterans Field. We will also be inviting the food pantry, and they are asking, they're pretty well stocked with food items. They're asking for items like toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, and toiletries if people wish to donate. So we'll get this along to the paper and get it advertised. The next item is I encouraged you at the last meeting to go out and look at the gas well site on Bollinger. If you did, you'll see that the sound barriers are up. The road is complete. It looks like a major development is occurring up there. We're expecting the rig sometime in January. So the other thing is that I wanted to make you aware of, they're going to begin to install their gathering line and water line. As you know, the water supplied for the fracking will be coming from Washington Township, or from Beaver Dam. I'm going to put this up on the screen for you so you can see it. All right. There we go. Up in the top there, the right-hand corner is the Athena well, which is actually the Washington Township well site. The Titan well pad is here. That's the one on Bollinger. And then the interconnect, which was approved a couple months ago, where the gas will go into the transmission line. So this line will be, this ditch line will be dual purpose. It'll have two 14-inch pipes in it, one to bring gas from the Athena well to the Titan well, then to the interconnect, and there will be a 14-inch water line also installed there. So there will be approximately 12 to 13 properties impacted through there. We requested Olympus to provide us with verification that they have surface rights there and some additional information, but this should be getting underway here very shortly also. So if you get any questions on it, you're now well versed. You can let the constituents know. The next item I have is I'm scheduled for a deposition on December 8th for the Sportsman's Club. If you recall, we had a noise issue arise there, and the deposition dates have been set for the hearing. And then finally, on the 6th of December at 10 a.m., we'll be swearing in our new police officer, Art Almanoff, who is a Murrysville resident, currently working in Manor. So he'll be replacing an officer that's retiring. So if you're interested in attending, it'll be at 10 o'clock on the 6th, which is a Monday. And that's it.
Thank you. Do we have anyone signed up for community input? Thank you. All right. Two folks tonight. Mr. Burnett? I probably did that right. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you. Okay. All right, Mr. Ackman. Just name and address, please, for the record.
My name is Matthew Ackman, 4211 Bulltown Road. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me. Months ago, I warned about the White House's national strategy for countering domestic terrorism. That document, in my opinion, was a declaration of war on a non-existing threat unless the threat is anyone that the federal government arbitrarily decides is a domestic terrorist. Then I warned of Merrick Garland's memo of October 4th, responding to the National School Board Association's letter to the president, which characterized concerned parents who engaged in school board meetings as domestic terrorists. which leads me to the case of Sharona Bishop of Grand Junction, Colorado. On November 16th, the FBI broke into her house with the SWAT team. FBI handcuffed her family and raided their house. Bishop is active in local and school board elections. She has a website and has been successful in getting school boards to elect conservative candidates. She's also vocal and supportive of County Clerk Tina Peters, who retained the voting records of Dominion voting machines before the voting records were deleted. Peters' home was also raided by FBI agents in the same series of raids. Bishop reports that the superintendent of her school district made false claims that her, Bishop's, group made threats against the school officials, which Bishop denies. The Colorado Attorney General released a statement saying the purpose of the raids was due to an alleged election system breach. The search warrant was for intentional damage of protected computer, wire fraud, and conspiracy to cause damage to a protected computer. Even if the allegations of criminal activity are true, I find it troublesome that a SWAT team would be needing a battering ram to open the door of a family with no criminal history for a nonviolent crime. This event happened to a typical American family who participates in local documents. I bring this to the council because there are many people in our communities, myself included, who have been vocal about election fraud and school issues. I ask the council to continue to consider to make Murrysville a sanctuary city for Second Amendment and gun rights, and to have the local police ready to defend citizens of Murrysville from such illegal and egregious actions from the federal government. I frequently communicate with my state and federal representatives about issues such as this, and I ask that you use your influence and channels of communications to work with the county and state to ensure the safety and liberty of Murrysville. Love the decorations as well here. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to our liaison and committee reports. Mac, we'll start with you tonight.
Nothing to report for Parks and Rec meet second Tuesday.
Okay. Tony?
Library, couple of things, although Mayor mentioned one of the most important programs coming up for the library, and that is the Jingles and Gingerbread on Monday, December 6th from 5 to 8. Lots of activities. It's a big program, and people really love it, so they'd love to see you there. I'm not going to go through all the programs. There's children's ones, there's teens, there's adults. Please visit their website at murrysvillelibrary.org or call their phone number, which is 724-327-1102, if you're interested in some of the upcoming programs, because some of them do require registration. I did want to mention they asked me to relay that they are seeking a new board director to serve on their library board for 2022. They're looking for a candidate who's a strategic thinker and a community-minded individual who can bring a new and diverse perspective to the collaborative leadership team. And the meetings are the third Thursday at 7 o'clock, and they're open to the public. So if you're interested, please see the position description on their website. Also, Murrysville Community Library Foundation is conducting their annual giving campaign, which is big for them. They're grateful for all donations that they receive. The foundation supports the library's mission to inspire ideas, enrich lives, and create lifelong opportunities for learning, literacy, and enjoyment. To donate, please visit the foundation's page on, again, the website, murrysvillelibrary.org. And last but not least, the library will be closed Friday, December 31st and Saturday, January 1st, 2022. And they just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. And that's it.
Thank you. Jamie?
Yes, I spoke at length last time about pension asset allocation, maybe adjustment that we were looking to make, and I thought we would need to vote on it. I think we're not going to need to vote on it because we already had it approved, but Mr. Burnett is here tonight to explain that in more detail.
Okay. Thank you. Carl?
The Parks and Recreation Foundation will meet next week. The Planning Commission will meet next week, and I'll tell you the next meeting what they said.
Thank you. Tony?
No report this week, but they meet in a couple weeks from now.
Okay. All right.
Lauren, can
Yes, sir.
I did just want to say one thing. The community members that live in communities that have the parks, please look for the questionnaire cards because they are going out to those community members. Please return them. We're trying to get an idea of what is being used in those community parks so that when we redo the parks within those smaller parts of the community that we're doing it to what they're looking for and what needs used. So those will be going out via mail, and there's also digital ones too as well.
And that is easily filled out using technology, using your phone, right? Scan the card
Scan the card and
answer
then
a
you
couple
can fill it out
quick questions.
and let you know. So people keep their eyes peeled. If you see it, please return it because it's very important that we know what you're looking for. That's it.
Great, thank you. Okay, moving into our workshop items, Mr. Burnett.
Thank you very much. So first of all, I'm Frank Burnett from Morrison Fiduciary Advisors. And for many years, we've been advising the municipality on how to invest the pension fund to keep the fund as close to fully funded as possible. And so it's nice to come to you this evening and let you know that the fund is up about 14% this year. Another really good year, which puts 3 good years in a row. The actuary is doing the update to tell us how well we're funded, but we believe we're either very close to fully funded or fully funded, depending on a couple of actuarial assumption changes that may or may not occur. But things are in a pretty good, rosy position. I think over the last 10 years, the fund has returned somewhere around over 10% a year annualized for 10 straight years, and we only needed to get 7.25 or 7.5 or some nominal number relative to the return. So it's really been a nice period here. And one of the things we do, we have an investment committee that meets quarterly, and everyone's invited to come anytime you want to come. But we have a policy statement that actually gets approved by you folks here on council. And then assuming that policy statement is approved by council, we operate and make decisions and manage the fund within the guidelines of that policy. And nowadays, you know, the stock market is expensive and bonds are yielding so low. There's a clear industry trend to hold more private real estate, private debt, and private equity, which are non-liquid securities, but take on the same characteristics that publicly traded stocks and publicly traded bonds take on. So in our policy statement, we're approved to do private real estate and private debt and private real estate, but we are not, we are allocated as a policy mix to only 15% in real estate and private equity. We currently have a 10% allocation to a real estate manager. So what we're here to tell you today, that the group is going to, would like to issue an RFP in accordance with state law, get some proposals in, and look in a product that is called private debt, which would basically be making loans to companies that have some leverage. They're generally below investment grade. They're run by companies. It's run by a firm. There's several firms we would look at. One I kind of have my eye on is a firm called Hamilton Lane. They've been doing this for about 15 years, and they've never had a losing fund. And all the returns have been kind of 9 to 11%, while fixed income is 2%. So it's a real nice yield pickup for the fund. You put the money in, you're kind of locked up for 5 years, but in 5 or 6 years, they do mature all the loans and pay the money back. We might roll into another fund they're doing at a later point and just keep rolling the money from fund to fund. But what I'd ask council to do tonight is approve an increase in that alternate investment category from 15 to 20%, so that we can have 10% in real estate and 10% in private debt. And so, Jamie, I do think to go from 15 to 20%, that's the motion I'm attempting to get. Page 2 of my handout kind of outlines private debt. I'll spend as much time as you'd like to spend tonight on that. Page 3 is probably most important in that this particular case shows the current target, which would be and then the updated target is highlighted in gold. And we go equities, publicly traded equities would go from 60% to 57%. Fixed incomes goes from 25 to 23%, and alternate investments goes from 15 to 20%. A rather moderate adjustment. I think it actually does lower the risk of the fund because I've said it many times, these publicly traded stocks are as risky as they get. And it puts us in something that will probably yield more than from where we're taking the money from. So theoretically, by diversification, we're lowering the risk in the fund, and at the same time, we're increasing our expected rate of return. Any questions or comments? That's the short version of what we're proposing. Certainly in our committee level, we've deliberated this to the point we're comfortable making a recommendation to you in this regard.
Yes, the 20% is going to be, real estate goes from 15 to 10, and the private debt goes from 0 to 10, so that makes up the 20.
That is exactly
Okay,
correct.
because I added up 120, and it's really 100, the 10 and 10.
Or subs of the 20.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yep, that's exactly correct.
The members of our committee, I believe Jamie's on that, is that correct? And Larry Schultz, and who would the other person be?
Mark Miller.
And Jim and Diane and Casey sits in.
Oh, okay.
I'm curious why that, sorry. Shut up on me. Why that type of change, why that need for that increase? I mean, it seems, I mean, I know everything, things change. There's not just one solid way to continue to see that success. But is this, do you see more opportunity in this? Do you see something falling off from where we stand right now?
I think it's just an industry trend where higher yielding, non-publicly traded securities are becoming more attractive to pension funds. At the same time, the valuation in publicly traded equities, heck, at 22 times earnings or something, that's kind of a precarious spot in investment. It's pretty hard. It's not going to be 30 times earnings, so we're kind of bumping up to as much as they can appreciate. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, fixed income, those yields are so low, any rise in interest rates, you can almost lose money in fixed income, believe it or not, if interest rates rise. So it's twofold. It's one, this is clearly an industry trend, and also our committee continues to have conversations every time we meet. How do we lower our risk? How do we lower our risk? We're a little bit concerned about how high the stock market is. What are we going to do with low interest rates? And I say, well, the only thing you can do, you can sit in cash and earn nothing, but inflation will whittle that away, so I'm not sure that's a very good strategy. The only other strategy that's really out there for us these days is to go into these alternate investments. And so we finally got up the learning curve to the point where the committee said, okay, good, let's take it to council.
It's in there.
Okay.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good. You have to make do we have to make a motion, or?
We'll take care of that at the
You'll
12:15 meeting.
I got you exactly. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. 9D, we have a discussion concerning the proposed changes to our short-term disability policy requirements.
You need it to be lower?
No, it's okay.
Yes, sir.
So currently, we have a policy for short-term disability that if an employee goes out on the short-term disability, the payment from the insurance company, they turn that over to us and in essence buy back sick time. So the carrier that we had prior to the carrier we have now understood that relationship. And when the employee would get the checks, at the end, they would not issue them a W-2, because that W-2 would come from us, because we took the short-term disability check. You following me? So a few years ago, the carrier was changed to standard, and we didn't realize that also the process changed also until we had a gentleman late last year that was on disability, and at the end of the year, he ended up getting a W-2 from us for his normal wages, And he also got a W-2 from the short-term disability company, in essence doubling his earnings because he never kept that money. So we went back and forth with the insurance company. We sent them all the policies. We talked to all the managers at that level, and they said they issued those checks. They didn't care what happened to the checks, who kept them, but they had to give him a W-2 because they had issued those funds under his Social Security number. So it ended up that it didn't affect his taxes at all, because it could have increased his earnings and affected his bottom line, but it didn't. But it brought me to thinking that it could another employee. So we can't find a carrier that will handle the compensation checks like our policy states. So our policy needs to change to operate under the same guidance that the insurance companies do. So what would happen is, if I would go out on short-term disability, I would use whatever sick time I have, and then my payments would stop from the municipality, and I would begin to get short-term disability checks until I was able to come back to work. So the total W-2s would give me my earnings, it wouldn't be duplicated. That's the main change here, only the way that we're handling their compensation from the short-term disability carrier.
That sounds good to me. One question I have, did this individual at one time get money from the municipality and money from the insurance, disability insurance at the same time?
He did, but he never cashed the disability checks. They were given to us to pay back his sick time.
Okay, so he didn't get double, he didn't
get
benefit
double
per
pay.
se. It was, okay.
Like if he made $10 an hour and he received $100, he bought back 10 hours of sick time. And we kept that rolling until he was able to come back. Now, if he ran out of sick time and didn't have sufficient short-term disability checks to pay, then his pay got decreased only to what he was able to buy back with his disability check. I mean, it really was a accounting nightmare, truthfully, but that's how they always did it, and that's how the policy was.
The change you're making is so the check goes
Directly
directly
to them.
to the employee, not to the municipality for us to try to figure that out. Okay.
And then our books will, once they've used their sick time or their major medical or whatever, they're done from us, and then their short-term disability will kick in and take them until they're ready to come back to work.
Makes sense.
Any other questions for Diane? Okay. Takes us on to 13A. Could we have a motion for 13A, please?
To make a motion to approve policy number,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, sorry, go.
that's right, policy number 49-21, revising the current short-term disability policy for municipal employees.
Second.
Okay. Same topic. Before we vote on that, thoughts, questions?
Aye.
Okay. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Stepanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Brockway,
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Dr. Lee Corns,
Yes.
Mr. Case.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diane.
Okay. Can we have a motion for 13B, please?
Make a motion to consider authorization to advertise ordinance number 1051-21, the 2022 tax ordinance setting the tax rate for the calendar year of 2022.
Second.
Okay.
This is just normal. Every year it will come in the first meeting of December to be advertised, so it has the proper advertisement to be voted on the second meeting of the month. Nothing's changed. All the allocations are the same as they were in the budget, as the same as they are this year, actually.
That's the real estate tax.
Yeah, it's a real estate tax.
This has nothing to do with EIT.
It does not.
Right.
Okay. Everybody good? All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Stepanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Brockway,
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Dr. Lee Corns,
Yes.
Mr. Case.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to 13C. Can we have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to consider authorization to advertise ordinance number 1052-21, the 2022 salary ordinance.
Second the motion.
This is again normal procedure for the first meeting in December. The salary ordinance stays virtually the same, except you'll see the highlighted range for the assistant finance director was suggested to be amended, and all of the rates for the police department are in accordance with their current collective bargaining agreement for 2022. This will come back you once we have a final contract with the laborers, Public Works. So you'll see this again, but that will be the only section that will change then, will be the Public Works part. We don't know what their earnings are going to be right now.
Sure. Okay. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Stepanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Brockway,
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Dr. Lee Corns,
Yes.
Mr. Case.
Yes. All right. Can we please have a motion for 13D?
Motion to consider approval of the Westmoreland County Transit Authority local share assessment in the amount of $1,375.50 for the fiscal year 21-22 to 2022.
Second.
This is an annual item also, and all the years I've worked here, I don't understand why they send this to us in November, but it actually started in July. Like, I never get that. They're almost a year behind, but this will actually be for the fiscal year that started July 21st and will end June 22nd. The rate's the same, nothing's changed. They said they still provide one route, and it roughly serves 110 riders. They have had significant decrease in riders, I think, since 2019, just because of last year. But they said that's remained pretty steady this year.
Okay.
Diane, as a curiosity, do we have any idea with people working from home if there's been less people taking the bus?
They said they've seen a decrease since the 2018-19, but it was similar to what was in 2020.
Okay. All right. No more questions? Give a roll call, please.
Mr. Stepanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Brockway,
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Dr. Lee Corns,
Yes.
Mr. Case.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
Thanks, Diane.
Can we have a motion for 13E, please?
I can make a motion to advertise ordinance number 1054-21, an ordinance amending Murrysville Code, Chapter 47-31D, Uniformed Police, updating minimum general qualifications and requesting separation records to meet recent changes required under State Act 57 of 2020.
Second.
Chapter 4731 is the procedures for the hiring of police officers. In July of 2021, the state passed Act 57, which strengthened the background check procedures used for hiring new police officers. And I've outlined those in the briefing as far as driving history, criminal history, contacting references, contacting previous employers, and the certification of that process through MOPEC, which is the state municipal police center. Those are all new, so it necessitates an amendment to Chapter 47, and that's what's proposed with this ordinance.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Nothing?
Just as a comment, Jim, I know that I've had experience working for a Justice Works Youth Care, and I was asked to get, and did get, child line, state police clearance, and FBI fingerprinting for dealing with children. And I don't see that here, but I don't think this is lacking necessarily, but any thoughts on that?
Well, that is part of the process now, and this just increases it. It came about, what happened historically is that communities have passed bad cops on from one community to the other. And it was a result of not being able to do these types of background checks. And with the society as it is today and the demands put on the police, they've chosen to go this route and to enable the prospective employers to do a more extensive background search and to disqualify candidates based on that background search if it yielded negative results. It still gives the municipality flexibility to hire that officer, but that officer cannot be hired without the consent of MOPAC in that particular instance. So the chief had brought this forth, is supportive of it, and believes that it's good for the profession.
Does it increase the range of the background check, or is it more
detailed?
Just the details with it.
Yes.
And it doesn't cost us any more, we've established.
No.
So.
Great. All right. Can we have a roll call, please, on 13E?
Mr. Stepanovich?
Yes.
Ms. Brockway?
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Dr. Lee Corns?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes. All right. Can we have a motion for item 13F, please?
I'd like to make a motion to consider authorizing the solicitor to file a civil action against property in violation of the Property Maintenance Code, Chapter 174 of the Murrysville Code, located at 2150 Carolina Street, tax parcel number 49-16-14-0-164.
Second.
We've been chasing this property owner for some time. Citations were issued. The individual was found guilty and fines levied against him. He has not paid the fines. And in consultation with the solicitor, the only alternative at this point to get the property cleaned up is a civil action. What we would be looking for is a judge giving the municipality permission to get the site cleaned up. And if that's the case, then lien the property for the cost of the cleanup. And if you could put that picture up on the screen, please.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
It was worse than that.
Where is this at in White Valley?
Carolina Street.
White Valley, that's like,
Yeah.
Is that the one to put a trailer in this front yard too?
There was a fire truck there.
Okay. That was the other one that had the trailer in his
Yeah,
yard.
we're working on that one too.
There were 3 trucks there at one point.
This is actually after it was cleaned up somewhat by the property owner.
Wow, look at that.
At one point, that street there, that material waste, whatever you want to call it, was encroaching out into the street. I think I have a picture of that.
Needless to say, we've had more than numerous complaints.
There it is.
oh, man.
That's the before. So very seldom do we go this route, but we feel that this situation necessitates it.
He pled not guilty.
I don't know that it was not guilty as much as recognizing that he was guilty and that the district justice did find him guilty.
But he didn't seem to think it was an
I think he probably felt somewhat threatened by the action because he did proceed with some cleanup, but has stopped at this point.
Mr. Stepanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Brockway,
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Dr. Lee Corns,
Yes.
Mr. Case.
Yes. All right, on to community development. Can we have a motion for 14A, please?
I'll make a motion to consider authorization to advertise ordinance number 1055-21, an ordinance rezoning 6 properties, 2 at 4725 Old William Penn Highway, Calvary Lutheran Church, tax parcel 49-14-08-0-013 and 49-14-08-0-014. 2 properties at 4765 Old William Penn Highway, Choice Auto Sales, tax parcels 49-14-08-0-015 and 49-14-08-016. 4771 Old William Penn Highway, Loyacona Dental, tax parcel 49-14-08-017 and 4785 Old William Penn Highway, Standard Bank, tax parcel 49-14-08-0-018 from M-U mixed use to B commercial.
Second.
We've had a public hearing at both the Planning Commission and Council level on this property. Planning Commission recommended the rezoning of the properties. The current uses there now are actually commercial uses, and feel that it's proper at this point to grant the request of the rezoning of the 6 properties. As stated, I believe, in testimony by Mr. Hergenroder, who represented Standard Bank, is now a vacant building because of the acquisition by Dollar Bank. Choice Auto is now vacant. They've since moved to the Weyerhaeuser site, and Calgary Lutheran has visions of different use than what was, or what its current use is. That was previously the PNC Bank, and Dr. Laurel Kona is dentist practice there.
In this scenario, do we contact, I know some property owners are seeking this to be done, but there's the ones that have not necessarily approached us. They do get contacted and...
The MPC requires that we send out letters of notice of the public hearings. We had no public comment. We also post the property in accordance with the MPC. So they received notice twice, once for the Planning Commission public hearing and once for Council's public hearing.
The only other question I have, the changing to B, is it business / commercial? I don't recall.
It's B Business District, yeah.
Okay, I just saw, I saw commercial listed,
Yeah.
I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions from council? Roll call, please.
Mr. Stepanovich,
Yes.
Ms. Brockway,
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Dr. Lee Corns,
Yes.
Mr. Case.
Yes. Nothing under engineer of public works or parks. Do we have any old business?
Yes, we do. A couple items. The first is we had a resident that came with concerns about traffic backup on Crowfoot and in Sardis Road. We've approached the school district. They monitored it. Local police monitored it. And apparently what's happening there is there are scheduled pickup times for the students at 3:15 p.m. However, parents wanting to get in and out begin showing up around 2:30. Well, the kids aren't released, so they're stacking along the access road into the school, which is creating the backup. So this notice was sent out to the parents on several occasions, asking them to please not to show up until 3:15 when dismissal actually occurs. So we're aware of it. Actions are being taken, and hopefully the parents respect the request of the school district. The second item is, if you recall, at the meeting the beginning of November, Council authorized the advertisement of an ordinance for the lease of oil and gas rights of Pedora Park and the detention pond in Springview. We publicly advertised that. We also sent the public advertisement to approximately 10 oil and gas companies. We opened bids on the 29th. We received one bid, and that bid was for acreage price of $2,000 per acre and 18% royalty on the gas rights. It would be our recommendation that be accepted as part of the ordinance that will be brought forth to council at the next meeting for the action to enter into a lease for those rights.
How many acres is that?
There's approximately 8.45 acres there.
Thank you.
Do we have any new business?
One item. Every reorganization year, we struggle with appointments to boards and commissions. We've got a number of responses, both from existing board members who wish to be re-upped, and past practice has been we chose not to interview those individuals. But we do have some new applicants. The problem is that they really can't be appointed till after January 1st because their terms don't expire until the 31st. But because of that, we only usually meet formally beyond the reorganization meeting once that month, and it's later in the month, and by the time we get people interviewed and get the appointments made, it's February, early March, so these boards are operating without a full capacity. I'm just wondering if council may be interested in beginning to interview some of these people before next meeting, and then I would invite the new council members in as part of that process, and maybe we can expedite the appointments a little quicker.
I think that would be a great idea. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That's as you said, we tend to drag it out a bit.
Right.
So I think it's good to get ahead of it.
Okay, then I will go along with that then.
Good.
10 minutes enough for each applicant?
Yeah, we can work with that.
All right.
Okay.
Executive session.
Yep.
Jim, while you got a minute, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
It's about the Blue Spruce shops. Do we have any control over that, the traffic flow or the parking, or? I mean, that's an accident waiting to happen down there, and it's packed with cars all the time.
Are you concerned about the traffic flow once you're in the plaza, or getting?
Well, when you walk, first of all, it's two ways at that first street, which was ridiculous. It should be one way, and people were speeding through there. I saw the cops down there the other day walking around. I guess the cars are being hit, and people were hit and run. I'm just saying, we have no control over changing anything there.
Well, we approved the plan. I'm not aware of, although I've been down there many times and have experienced what you're talking about. I don't know that we've had a high demand of accidents down there. Probably a lot of near misses.
Yeah.
But I don't know that there's a whole lot there to solve any problem that's perceived to be there. In fact, they're actually under the number of the requirements for parking there. They have more parking spaces than are required for the uses that are there now.
Nobody wants to park up above, that's.
Nobody wants to park across the street, or nobody wants to park
Yeah.
The
down towards
Starbucks
McDonald's.
drive-through does a
And the
lot.
Starbucks drive-through is an issue.
High speed, right?
I like to think, from time to time, we get complaints here about the strip malls and about Blue Spruce and the parking there. And, my thinking is, well, I'm glad to a certain degree that we have this problem because people are visiting the shops and they're supporting the businesses. On the other side, we have pretty stringent parking requirements in compared to other communities. And to increase those, I would be cautious because, there are environmental concerns with more pavement and things like that. And I'd like to think that we're happy that we have that kind of demand on our spaces and on our businesses.
Yeah.
But to say, is there a solution? No.
Yeah.
Not that
the
I can
parking
think of.
spaces.
Yeah, and I don't
People are speeding through there and,
Yeah, I think it's more what you said too, Tony, is that it's wide open up towards McDonald's. It's
Yeah.
just people keep circling and circling, looking for a parking
and they're
space.
flying to get a spot then, huh?
They want that
Okay,
spot
I
right in
predict
front of the
someday
liquor
we'll have
store.
an
It's a people problem, not a planning problem. Yeah. But even one thing, I've obviously I think we've all been there. Consider it as new developments come forward. Keep it in mind.
Well, the one thing nice about it is that we finally have some shops in there that are boutiques and,
Yeah, they're good.
other, not the ordinary haircutting joint and the restaurant bar type deal, but there are other kinds of shops in there which attract people throughout the day. So there's always activity through there. Again, I'd much rather have this problem than storefronts empty and nobody in the parking
Yeah, we don't want
spaces.
that.
State store gets a lot of business.
What's that?
The state store gets a lot of business.
Oh, the state store's busy, yeah.
It's only going to get busier.
Yeah. All right. We do have an executive session. Any action
No, sir.
taken?
No.
Okay, well, then we can adjourn to executive session, so.
Alrighty.
Motion to adjourn? May I have one, please?
Motion to adjourn to executive session.
Second.
All right.
Where do you want to go?